Very, very simple area. Used to be easy, stamp duty, land tax. Solicitors dealt with that. Not quite sure going forward. There could be a few questions. They will still, no doubt, do the returns, but it's just changed slightly, both for commercial and residential. And there's going to be a premium rate to it as well. So from the 1st of April 2016, there will be a 3% surcharge, and that will be applied to properties over the value of £40,000. And it's residential properties. So that's on second ones and additional properties. So the holiday home, the buy-to-let situation. Now, if you can buy a property less than £40,000, excellent, you're not going to have it. But not quite sure where you're going to get those properties in this area. I could mention a few areas where you probably could, but I better not. It will not apply to caravans. It will not apply to mobile homes or houseboats. So you never know. Boston could have a few houseboats in a few years' time. You just never know this thing. And it will apply to all UK residents on properties purchased in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Scotland, obviously, not independent, but they have their own tax rules, and that will apply there as well. Now remember, they did actually introduce a stepped approach to stamp duty land tax. And here are the existing rates, and here are the additional rates. So we've got 0 to 125,000, 0. Excellent. That's on your main residence, remember. On the second property, it's 3%. Personally, I would say that's a bit of an increase. Used to be 0, didn't it? Let's have a look at my type of property. So, £1.5 million, okay, that's my second property. I'm now paying 15%. It's quite a big jump. Now, there's a few in this room, I can see. There's probably got properties of that value in London. That's a lot of money. Practical issues. The use of a second home or second property is irrelevant, okay? If the purchaser has sold a previous main residence in the last 18 months, before the day of the transaction of the new residential property, then the premium will not apply. So you've sold your house, you've gone into rental, and you've bought a new one, not a problem. But is the property market that easy? So if you purchase a new residential property prior to the disposal of the previous residential property, guess what? The premium applies. Now, I would expect there's a few people who've been in that situation, and I expect there's a few people going to be in that situation. Don't worry, there's a way out of it, of course, but I expect you're going to have to pay something first. It is possible to claim a refund if you have paid that premium of stamp duty land tax. And as we all know, it's very easy to get hold of HM Revenue and Customs on the phone or by letter. They're very helpful and you get a repayment very quickly. Lots of cynical faces are coming back at me. This comes from a lot of experience of dealing with the revenue. You can get through to them in the space of 5 minutes, so not to worry. But to get that refund, you must make the claim. They will not give it to you. And you must make that claim within 36 months of the purchase of that property. Okay? But for capital gains purposes, the refund, etc., won't be made unless you sold the first property within 18 months. So we've got a 36 month, we've got an 18 month for stamp duty land tax. We have to look at capital gains tax as well. Remember, on your main residence, no capital gains tax. On any other residence, capital gains tax for higher rate taxpayers at 28%. Don't forget the stamp duty premium as well. So there is an increase in the overall tax you're paying. Here we go. Practical issues number 2. What is a main residence? It's a matter of fact. And please don't ask, how long do I have to live there? Remember, it's a matter of fact. If it looks like an elephant, it is an elephant. If that's where your postal address is for your doctors, for your nurses, for your library, for example, voting rights, etc., I would expect that to be your main residence. You can't elect to say, but that one's my main residence, I don't want to pay the... Sorry, if you've already got a main residence, you can't go, oh, I'm swapping over to that one so I don't pay the premium. Tough luck. You get rid of the first one first. There is going to be different treatments for stamp duty, land tax and CGT. We have a problem. Consideration will also need to be given to foreign-owned properties as well. Remember, it's a residential property. If you have a residential property abroad, you have a residential property in the UK, it's a second property. So, very simple nowadays to buy a property. They want to encourage people to buy properties, but only one property. Okay? Obviously, practical issue number 3, they're going to try and ensure that there is no tax avoidance. If anyone in this room can actually explain it when you go out of this room how this actually works, well done. I'm assuming that you're going to come to us or a solicitor to try and explain this to you. Companies or other vehicles will also be caught. Now, there was a hope that companies would not be caught by this. You can establish a company to buy a property. And a lot of people saying in the buy-to-let sector that that's what they were going to do. Don't worry, we won't pay the premium. Oh, you will. Doesn't matter if it's the first purchase of a property or the 15th or the 16th or the 17th. They will pay the premium. When to pay it? Okay. So plans are going to be introduced with effect from the 6th of April 2017. At present, a return and payment of stamp duty land tax is in 30 days. Excellent. It's going to go down to 14 days. Okay, so it's 14 days from you buying that property when the return goes in and when the payment has to be made. They want the money earlier. Very simple. Capital gains, they want the money earlier. Again, very, very simple. SDLT for commercial property, and that was effect from today, actually. The rules and rates are changing from a single band, again, to a stepped based on the proportion of the purchase price falling within that band. This becomes identical to the calculation of residential property. So at least they're trying to match it up together. That is on freehold purchases and also on lease premiums. So we have rates here, 0 to 1, 3, 4. Okay, we have rates of 0, 2 and 5. So there is an increase in rates, but actually I was doing some calculations earlier on, and there's not too much of an increase. There's actually a slight decrease on a value of, say, £1 million in terms of the stamp duty land tax payable. Leasehold transactions, there are changes to those as well. Again, effective from today, there is a new 2% rate to be introduced for rent paid where the net present value exceeds £5 million. Now, certainly for some of our clients, they have been purchasing commercial property in that region. So there will be an increase in the stamp duty land tax that they will be paying. Calculators issued by HMRC allow that to be worked out, and it's not a problem with regard to that. It actually works. They've done something very useful for once. I know it's a shock.